The Galactic Council had made their biggest mistake in 10,000 years of recorded history. They had bombed Earth. Jessica stood at the observation deck of the Retribution, her knuckles white against the railing as she watched the debris field that was once the Vraxian battle fleet drift past. Beside her, James methodically loaded another magazine into his rifle, his jaw set in that particular way that meant someone was about to have a very bad day. "They actually thought we'd surrender," Jessica said, her voice carrying that dangerous calm that made even hardened Marines step back. "They dropped antimatter bombs on Sydney, New Delhi, and Lagos, killed 3 billion people and expected us to raise the white flag." James laughed, but there was no humor in it. "The Vraxians studied our history. They saw our wars, our conflicts, our divisions. They thought we were weak because we fought among ourselves." He slammed the magazine home. "They didn't understand that fighting each other was just practice." The Vraxians had been the Council's enforcers for millennia. When the Council discovered humanity had developed faster than light travel without their permission, they sent the Vraxians to deliver an ultimatum: submit or be destroyed. Humanity, still reeling from the first contact excitement, had tried diplomacy. They'd sent ambassadors, offered trade, shared culture. The Vraxians had responded by turning 3 of Earth's major cities into radioactive craters. What the galaxy didn't know, what they couldn't have known, was that humanity had been preparing for this moment since they first looked up at the stars. Every science fiction story, every war game, every contingency plan had asked the same question: what if they're hostile? "How many ships do we have in the field now?" Jessica asked. 2,000 in this sector alone, James replied. Another 5,000 scattered across Vraxian space. The Terran Armada went from 0 to 7,000 warships in 6 months. He smiled grimly. "Turns out when you threaten human extinction, we get motivated." The truth was, humanity had been building ships in secret for decades. Not exploration vessels, warships, dreadnoughts hidden in asteroid fields, carriers disguised as mining stations, weapons platforms orbiting dead moons. When the governments of Earth finally confirmed they weren't alone in the universe, the military-industrial complex hadn't celebrated. They'd accelerated. Jessica pulled up the tactical display. Red dots representing Vraxian forces were winking out across a dozen star systems. "The Council is calling for negotiations." "I'm sure they are," James said. "Now that we've crippled their enforcement arm, destroyed 600 Council stations, and blockaded their core worlds." He turned to face her, and his eyes were hard. "Do you know what they're calling us in Galactic Standard?" "What?" "Talneshkai. It means the sleeping death. They're saying we were dormant, waiting, that we played weak while we sharpened our teeth." Jessica considered this. The Council had assumed humanity was like them, slow to anger, dependent on bureaucracy, afraid of mutually assured destruction. They'd based their entire strategic assessment on the fact that humans seemed so divided, so chaotic, so individualistic. They hadn't understood that chaos was humanity's weapon, while the Council species spent decades debating military actions in committees. Humans had entrepreneurs building warships in competition with each other. While Council worlds needed unanimous approval for defense spending, Earth had 12 competing space programs, each trying to outdo the others. The Vraxians had seen humanity's lack of unified government as weakness. It was actually a strength. "Set course for the Council homeworld," Jessica ordered. "Full fleet." "They'll see us coming," James warned. "Good. I want them to see us. I want them to watch 7,000 human warships drop out of FTL in their orbit. I want them to understand exactly what they unleashed." The journey took 3 days. 3 days during which the Council sent increasingly desperate diplomatic messages. They offered reparations, compensation, a seat at the Council table. They promised the Vraxian leadership would face justice. They begged for mercy. Jessica deleted every message unread. When the Terran Armada emerged from faster-than-light travel above the Council homeworld, the effect was exactly what she'd hoped for. 7,000 warships, each bristling with weapons humanity had spent centuries perfecting on each other, materialized in perfect formation. The Council defense fleet, such as it was, immediately powered down their weapons and retreated. Jessica opened a channel that broadcast to every Council species simultaneously. "People of the Galactic Council," she began, her voice carrying to billions of beings across hundreds of worlds. "You attacked Earth, you killed 3 billion humans. You did this because you believed we were weak, divided, and easily conquered. She paused, letting that sink in. You were wrong about everything except the divided part. We are divided into hundreds of nations, thousands of corporations, millions of competing factions. And every single one of them is now united in one purpose, making you understand why old Earth had a saying. James stepped into frame beside her, and behind them, visible through the observation deck, the full might of the Terran Armada hung in space like a promise of violence. Fuck around, Jessica continued, and find out. You fucked around, now you've found out. Humanity doesn't want your territory, James added. We don't want to join your council. We don't even particularly want to interact with you. But you need to understand something that we learned in 10,000 years of fighting each other. We're really, really good at war. Jessica pulled up a holographic display showing Vraxian space. 90% of it was now marked in blue, human-controlled. The Vraxian Empire no longer exists. Their worlds are under Terran protection now. Any species that threatens them answers to us. She zoomed out, showing the entire galactic map. This is your new reality. Humanity is here, we're armed, and we have very long memories. 3 billion people, James said quietly. We'll never forget, and we'll never forgive. Jessica terminated the connection and turned to her crew. Pull the fleet back to Earth. It's time to rebuild what they destroyed. She glanced at James. And this time, nobody will question why we keep building warships. As the retribution turned toward home, James looked out at the stars with a mixture of sadness and grim satisfaction. The galaxy had feared the Vraxians for their cruelty, the Zathar for their cunning, the Molden for their relentlessness. Now they would learn to fear humanity for something far more terrifying. Their capacity to forgive everything except the one thing you should never do. Never attack their home.